I'm here to tell a brief story. It's a life-changing story, and it's just express the gratitude that I have towards my union. My father and grandfather back in the late 50s, early 60s would make the trip from down south to the border, get a permit, and go work in the farms, agriculture in Oxnard, California. Ultimately, the owner of the farm sponsored my grandfather and legalized them. This in turn helped my grandfather to legalize his sons. My father and his brothers ultimately came to the Midwest and started working in the steel industry, LTV Steel on the southeast side of Chicago. Now I'm also part of Local 6787. I work on a blast furnace. So on Monday morning, I was heading to work, and I get pulled over. Probably half a block down, I get swarmed by some big SUVs and other vehicles. I didn't know what was going on. They pulled me over, they come to my window, and they asked me my name. I said, yeah, that's me. He's like, well, we have an order for removal for you from the United States of America. It was ICE. They were sending me back home, to a home that I didn't know, to a home that, I never lived there. I came here when I was 6 months old. I came here legally. We flew into the Chicago on a passport because everything was legal. The ICE agents, like, we have to go, get in the truck. They drive me off. It's probably about literally a mile and a half away from my house, the federal building. They take me into the garage there, and I asked them if I could make a phone call. They said, we don't know if you're gonna get service, but you could try. I said, okay. They asked me who I was calling. I said, I'm gonna call my griever from my job. I'm like, Kirk, it's Tito. He's like, what's going on, Tito? I said, I'm not gonna make it to work. And he's like, for how long? I said, it's indefinite, Kirk, I'm not sure. And I remember him saying, don't worry about it. I got your back, I'll take care of it. I said, well, I gotta go, Kirk. He's like, all right, don't worry. I hung up the phone. From there, I was transported to Kenosha, Wisconsin, to a detention facility where I remained for the next few months. My family and my union were in constant contact throughout this ordeal. And to say that they had my back is an understatement. I go to court, my first court date I remember. I'm hoping for a bond. I get there and the officer tells me my monitor doesn't work, but they could see me, I can't see them, because I'm still in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Everything is through video and camera. And I can't see them. I didn't know who was in there. I could just hear the voices, and it was very brief, very quick. I called my girlfriend later. I said, hey, what happened at court? I didn't even understand what was going on. She goes, you know how many people came to your court there? I said, no, I had no clue. I can't see. She's like, a lot of your union members were there. And I said, oh, that's great. So moving on to the last court date. This was the deciding day if they were gonna send me back to Mexico. Normally every day you'd hear on Thursdays, you hear the chains rattling and people shackled and they're leaving, they're getting sent back to their countries. And I go to court and my monitor's working and I remember clearly, I sat down, they turned the man around, the officer told me do not say a word. I said, you don't have to worry about me talking, I have nothing to say, I'm scared for my life right now. It's a scary moment. And you see my family walks in to the right, and they're all weeping. Then my 14-year-old walks in, he was 13 at the time. And I see him crying his eyes out, and it was just overwhelming to me. And then after that, one by one, you see all these union members walking in. And they filled the second row, the third row, the fourth row. Every single row in that courtroom was full. Every single row. Even the standing in the middle section, they brought in other chairs. And to say, my president of my union, P. Trinidad, was there, Sarah. To say that the overflowing show of support was overwhelming and I was in disbelief, I don't know how to explain it, you know? That my outcome was probably changed because of that, because I know the judge had to see something. And I said, I went to school, got my degree in accounting, got a job at the mill, ArcelorMittal, been there going on 8 years, own a couple properties, that's all I've done. And he looked at the prosecutor and he goes, order to cancel removal, granted. So he canceled the removal. And yeah, it was an overwhelming feeling. He canceled it, and I got to go home free that day. And I'm just very grateful and thankful to my local, Pete. And it didn't go in vain because he also, through the bargaining agreement of 2018, the contracts that we just went through, he brought it to the international board, and it's actually language in the contract that states that if wrongfully detained, the company will hold your job upon your release. And I'll tell you what, that took a lot of pressure off of me. Thank you.